Quick, draw a bicycle from memory without looking at any reference. I'll show you my drawing at the end of the video. Hi everybody, Daphne here, and welcome back to my channel. I'm the artist of the self-published furry fantasy comics Tall Tales and Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. Before we get started, check out my artwork at the galleries and social media sites next to me on the side here. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. And as always, there's free comics featuring the first 3 issues of Tall Tales waiting for you at the link in the description box below. So don't forget to sign up for them. So about a year ago on Tumblr, because of course it was on Tumblr, I was reading a post about a girl who commissioned an artist to draw a piece of her 2 OCs embracing or something. It was a nice piece, nothing complicated, just kind of thought it was just a person showing off her commission. However, the post began to disintegrate as I continued reading. Now, I don't remember if it was the commissioner or someone else who decided to jump into something that was none of their business to begin with, because Tumblr. But what they had done was found the stock photo, allegedly the actual stock photo, that may have been used for the commission. They did an overlay to prove that the commission was traced from the stock photo and went on a whole rant about how the artist was fake for using reference. Now, just to clarify, the artist used the pose from the stock photo to draw out the commission. Nothing else in the piece was a direct copy of the stock photo except for the pose. And even then, it wasn't completely identical. But it didn't matter to the rantee. They went on about how true artists drew everything from memory, and artists who used reference were faking their work and cheating people. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know how I feel about people who try to use that true creatives do this BS. Especially when they themselves are creatives. I'm sure you've heard variations of true artists don't do digital art. True artists only use pencil and paper. True artists don't go to art school. True artists do go to art school. Now it's true artists don't use reference.
Excuse me. But aren't you guys way too busy with your own creative output to be worried about what other people are doing?
So, being on Tumblr, I was both surprised and not surprised at how many people agreed with this poster, that somehow artists who use reference are cheating. And the kicker is that from what I could tell, the people who absolutely insisted on this point of view were coincidentally not artists themselves. And if they were artists, they really weren't very good at it.
Do tell!
I thought this argument was a complete one-off until I saw it come back again a couple of months ago, except this time on Twitter. Along with my tweet, I showed images from the Disney archives showing animators working from live models on scenes that would be used in the original animated Alice in Wonderland. Are all the Disney animators fake? Does them using reference disqualify all the art the Disney company has created? Look, I know us artists love to be looked on like what we do is magic, but the painful, boring truth of it all is that we're not. We have to actually work at our art, and sometimes that requires a whole bunch of different hacks to do it. Every artist I have ever known and not known all use reference for their art. If you want your artwork to have a certain level of correctness, then you use reference. Every artist, every single one, has collections of reference images, books, digital archives, stock photos, inspirational art, personal photo reference, mood boards, anything and everything that will help them create art at the level of quality that they need. Only one artist has ever claimed he never used reference, And that was Frank Frazetta, a literal artistic genius. But he also simultaneously talked about how his sisters would pose for his paintings. So take that proclamation with a grain of salt. Now, conversely, there are artists out there who are so dependent on reference you can actually tell when they don't use them. And then there are some artists who could sorely need to use at least some minimum reference in their art. What you want to be is somewhere in between. Have enough muscle memory to be able to draw a lot of basic things from memory, but also have enough wherewithal to know when you need to use reference for certain things. Now I'm going to show you how I put together a piece that is mostly a composite of clip art and stock photos to get the final image that I wanted. The image that I am showing you today is a piece I illustrated for J.D. Calderon's Kickstarter exclusive chapbook from the OSWALD Chronicles. Here is how I put it together. Here you can see all the clip art and stock photos that I collected for the piece. There was originally a lot more, but these are the images I narrowed the search to get the composition I wanted. In Photoshop, I collected the clip art into one file, arranging the pieces to get what I wanted the final mirror to look like. Now, as you can see, it's not like I can use this as is. Even as clip art, you can tell that all the separate pieces are inked differently, and it really doesn't look like a final anything. It just looks like clip art piled onto one another. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking I'm going to trace this. Well, technically yes to a point. These are the elements I want in the mirror frame, except for the cherubs, which I will be changing into winged mice. But I want the overall aesthetic of the clip art elements, so I'm not going to sit here and reinvent the wheel. However, I am not going to directly trace everything here either. I'm just going to ink in what I want for the final design to look like. Now I'm adding the stock photo that I chose for the characters. Now here's the thing. The stock photo is for the pose only. I have no interest in what the people look like, except for superficial details like how the woman is adjusting the tie. Now here's the trick with using photo reference from the internet. Unless you are buying the rights to the stock photo, you don't really want to copy everything in the image directly. You want to use the image as a base and work from there. Poses are not copyrightable, however the exact photo can be. There are people who do sell pose stock photos, but there is nothing stopping you from recreating the pose yourself. However, it's considered ethical to pay the photographer for all the work they're doing, putting the stock reference collections together. Consider it like buying a clip art or an art reference book, except the person making it benefits directly. One thing you want to watch out for is using photos taken by professional photographers for magazines or news agencies. You don't want to end up like Shepard Fairey or Madonna, who have gotten sued numerous times for copying exact elements of other people's photos for their own art. And for goodness sake, if you are using other people's artwork for reference, do not copy the artwork exactly or just change a couple of colors here and there and call it yours. The whole point is to be transformative. That is, you change the base enough that the work can be considered your own. If you want to be pedantic about it, here's the definition from the U.S. Copyright Office. Transformative uses are those that add something new, with a further purpose or different character, and do not substitute for the original use of the work. Nature of the copyrighted work. This factor analyzes the degree to which the work that was used relates to copyright's purpose of encouraging creative expression. Now I merge the elements and convert to a blue line so I can draw everything I want to change about it on top before inking. Here is the final pencils for the piece. As you can see, it's not a direct copy of my clip art base. Everything still looks a bit separate, but that's where the inking comes in to pull all the elements together into one cohesive piece. Thank you so much for making it this far and watching to the end of my video. I hope you found it informative or at least entertaining. If you're serious and you want to improve your art, you need to use all types of reference to do it. If you still think using reference is cheating, well, here's the bicycle I drew from memory. Here's a look at the final piece again. Do you have any more tips and tricks about using reference in your work? Tell me in the comments. Have someone in mind you think would like this video? Share it and send them a link. And don't forget to like and subscribe and sign up for your free Tall Tales comics before you go. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!